A bird of the day! Yeah, it's time for bird of the day. Because we love a bird of the day. Budge Eater, I know you're going to like this one. So, I mean, there's only really one kind of bird we could do today. It's in the name of the day. You know, if you're a fan of America, and it's national pastime of National Football League football, which for all you people who aren't from the United States, we refer to football as the sport with, well, the one that I'm holding, and not kicking it around a little white and black thing in the nets. No, this is a different game. We call that game soccer. We call this game football. And the championship game is called the SUPERBOWL. So that obviously means the superb owl. And so today we're talking about the great horned owl. Because, boy, could there be a more superb owl than the great horned owl in the United States? I don't think so. I think this is our superb owl. Oh, we got some great stuff to tell you about the great horned owl. I almost called it the superb owl. It is the superb owl. We got the great horned owl. So let me tell you a little about the great horned owl. Now, interesting thing about the great horned owl is it is a species with a great deal of variance. Lots of variance in it. I would say that the great horned owl is very similar to humans, in that humans vary greatly, both in terms of size and athleticism and, you know, their color that they are. It's like there's a lot of great variety and diversity, and I think that's one of the things that should really be celebrated about humans and about the great horned owl. So you think, yeah, 17 inches long, up to 25 inches long. It's pretty big. It's like some great horned owls are almost twice as big as others. It's pretty big. And so, like, yeah, the wingspan's ranging from 3 to 5 feet. I mean, we're talking like an 80% variance here. It's pretty big. As is true with almost every owl, they are bigger if they are female. So as you can see, the females weigh almost a pound on average more than the males do. So that's pretty typical. Pretty typical of all large birds of prey. It's just a thing about them. And they're, you know, as also with pretty much most large birds, they are longer lived. Their average lifespan in the wild is 13 years. So that's a pretty good lifespan for a bird out in the wild. And 20 in captivity. The oldest bird ever in captivity of a great horned owl was 28 years old. That's a pretty good life. Pretty good life. And so if you notice that, of course, they are in the order Strigiformes. And the family, there are two owl families. There's the Old World owls and the barn owls. So the Strigidae is your Old World owls. And if you remember from a previous one of my ones, in the genus Bubo, there was another one we did in the Bubo, and that was the Eurasian eagle owl. The great horned owl and the Eurasian eagle owl are very, very closely related. They are, you know, pretty much cousins. Very, very similar owls, but they got some interesting variances. I mean, obviously, the one thing that really stands out that lets you identify a great horned owl versus a Eurasian eagle owl is their horns. Now, of course, they're not actually horns. They're not actually horns, but they're feathers that tuft up there. And I got my little cursor here. See? They got little horns there. Great horned owls have those. That's what their namesake. Now, what they really are is just feathers that spike up, but those feathers are very sensitive. They're kind of connected to their ear channels and their face disc, so it really gives them a lot of extra hearing. And it looks pretty cool. But yeah, it's just feathers. It's not really horns. A bird with horns. How silly would that be? Silly bird horns. But as you can see here, they are pretty widely distributed. Pretty much everywhere in North America. You know, just little bits of Mexico and Central America where they all hang out. But then a bunch of them have found their ways into northern South America, and even, you know, good chunk of southern Brazil, a little bit Argentina and Peru there. So yeah, hanging out down those Andes Mountains. They don't do as well in the really thick parts of the Amazon, but do pretty good in a lot of open areas. So very good. pretty good. Yeah. So, of all the species of owl, they are the second largest. We covered it in my snowy owl episode that the snowy owl is the largest species of owl, but close behind is the great horned owl. Big boys, real big boys. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, as an owl, they're excellent hunters. These guys are even known to fight and attack other big birds of prey. So it's like they sometimes will target falcons and kestrels and other big birds of prey. Even seen them eating osprey. Now, obviously, if they're going to attack them just out of nowhere, they're going for chicks. They've been known to swoop into nests and try and take the little baby chicks out of there. Because these guys, they'll eat just about anything. They eat all sorts of things. I mean, obviously, they're known for eating rodents. You know, you got your rats and stuff. They'll eat lizards if they can find them, although they're not as common in areas with lizards. And it turns out they're the #1 killer of American crows. What? Am I reading this right? The #1 killer of American crows? Is what? Oh my god. Oh my god. I was talking so nice about these guys. And the #1 killer of American crows? Is it, what? Why? Why? No! Yes, it is unfortunate. The American crow just happens to be just the right size to make an excellent prey for the great horned owl. We gotta watch ourselves for these guys. Apparently, they like to make a snack of the American crow. Now, the American crow is not their favorite snack, but, yeah, in terms of predation, nothing stalks the American crow more than a great horned owl. And, yep, often you might see a whole group of crows working together to try and fend one off. Because as a group, you know, a great horned owl isn't going to be able to take on a whole murder. But a lone crow all by his own himself. Yes, owls do beat out cats. Cats are really more of a threat to smaller passiforms, like your little songbirds and stuff. Crows are usually smart enough and big enough to be able to get away from cats. Because, you know, a house cat's only a little bit bigger than a crow. Whereas a great horned owl is bigger than a house cat. And so, yeah. I mean, this is just the research I read, but I'm sure house cats are probably #2. But crows are much better suited for defense against a house cat than they are against an owl. Yeah, still though, silent hunters. You know, so I mean, great horned owl, they are owls, so obviously they've got great night vision, really big yellow eyes. Their eyes are pretty cool. I mean, I got big yellow eyes. Look at my big yellow eyes. And, yeah, they have, you know, owls have what they call a facial disc, so it makes them some of the best hearing sense of pretty much any bird. They're really good. And they just sit up in a perch, and they can hear a little scurry of a little rodent, and, you know, swoop down and get them. And, as I don't have written on here, but as you may already know, most owls, their eyes don't move around. Their eyes just fixed in their head, so they do it by moving their head in and out and twisting around, and their head can turn about 175 degrees in both directions. So it's almost a 360-degree range of movement on their heads. That's pretty cool. I can't do that. That's pretty cool. Another interesting thing about them, I was talking about there's a lot of variance in great horned owls, and it really depends on where they live. So, if they're in more the central and eastern United States, they have kind of more of a brown, you know, medium brown and white feathery kind of mix that you have. The ones that live more in northern Canada, they typically have more of the white feathers with less brown. And obviously, you know, it helps them out in the wintertime. You know, being more white helps a lot. I mean, not as white as a snowy owl, but, you know, still pretty white. The ones that are over on the west coast of the U.S., that, you know, like in the Pacific Northwest and stuff, they end up having more really dark and even some charcoal colored. And down in Mexico and in Southern America, they have more light browns, kind of more of a sandy color. So that's kind of interesting. And then typically, the closer this owl lives to the equator, the smaller it is. So your Canadian great horned owls are going to be a lot bigger than, say, your northern South American great horned owls. Although the smallest ones live in the Baja California area of Mexico. That's kind of interesting. But no matter what region they're from, no matter where their range is, they don't migrate. And I think that's the reason why you have so much variance is because they've started to adapt to their climates. And so after many, many thousands of years of natural selection, that's why you see variances in the populations. Because they don't migrate. Where they're born is pretty much where they stay around. I mean, they'll move around a bit, but, you know, they don't have a huge range, and they pretty much stay in the same, you know, general geographic region for their entire life. That's kind of what they do. Another interesting thing is that they don't build their own nests. They will find an old nest from some other large bird, and they'll just be like, nice nest you built here. It's mine now. Yep, I'm taking it over. Now, they'll add some things to it, but they don't start from scratch. They'll be just like, yeah, this is a good nest, but I'm just going to bring in a little bit of some extra twigs and bark here, kind of make it my own. Kind of like, moving to a new house, you got to bring your own furniture, but it doesn't mean you built the house. Yeah, they're squatters. They are definitely squatters. But yeah, they're pretty good. Pretty good, yeah. Little squatty owls. They're pretty good. So, what are my thoughts on the great horned owl? Well, I do have to say, they are a superb owl. But, I'm sorry guys, you're crow killers. I don't know how highly I can rate a crow killer. You kill more of my brothers than any other bird type. How can I possibly give you a high rank? I mean, you are pretty cool. I mean, owls are pretty great. It's just, I got those conflicting viewpoints, you know. It's just, what do you do? What do you do? It's like, how can I rate somebody that kills a lot of my brethren when they're just so goddamn cool? So I don't know. Maybe I'll give them a B plus. B plus. You'd be an A bird, but the crow killing's knocking you down a few points there, great horned owl. Knocking you down a bit. But you know what? Keep being badass. I like it. And I think you're great. So yeah. We're gonna call this bird a day.